Hey everyone, it's nice to see some of the same faces as last week.
Good morning, Nick.
Hello.
Good to see you again. Haven't seen you since the show.
Yeah.
Why do we have a winter backdrop here? This is
Yeah, I
concerning.
just grabbed a 5-minute timer and it didn't look unseasonal in the little thumbnail, so just a little bit of winter here in the summer.
I do not want winter.
No, no, no. It's still in that time period where it's like a nice hot day. The summer, it's like when you're begging for some colder weather.
Where are you based?
I'm based out of Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, you're in New York. Okay.
What about
Nice.
you?
Portland, Oregon.
Cool. You guys have the same temperature all year round, right? Pretty much.
No, no, it gets really hot here. It didn't used to. I've been here about almost 30 years,
Okay.
and summers used to be pretty normal. We'd get like a couple 100-degree days in August, and then it would go away and it'd be just beautiful. No humidity, no bugs. We get 100-degree days in May now. It's wild.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, the weather patterns have changed dramatically over here. I mean, I live in Seattle as well. My wife lives up there, and you never needed air conditioning up there, and you have to have air conditioning now. I mean, you never, up until 10 years ago, you really didn't need air conditioning, and now you have to have air conditioning for the summer.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. It's not good.
Cool. Well, let's dive in. Thank you, everyone, for humoring the snowflakes. Before we dive in, we have a few more people in the waiting room. Let's let those folks in. Cool. So I like to think of these as creative conversations. If you have questions throughout, please do. You can just turn on your microphone and ask. Since I am driving and illustrating, it's hard for me to watch all the different places. So if you put in a message and I don't respond to you right away, please don't take it personally. I just likely haven't seen it yet. And if you do ask a question, I may say, hold that for a bit. We'll come back to it. Please don't get offended by that. But overall, yeah, please ask in real time and we'll go from there. I practice with some polling. So I'm going to launch a poll for y'all right now, just so I can get a little bit of an idea of who's in the room and what they're used to. So you should have a poll come up on your side, just so I can get an idea of where we are in terms of, have you ever prompted before with AI, or is this completely new to you? And we'll go from there. So if you can take a moment on that side, great. Cool. We got a lot of people coming through. And then while we're doing that, for those of you who feel comfortable being on camera, feel free to turn on your camera. For those of you who don't, that's totally fine. I would love for people to be vocal. It can be a little lonely up here. I will ask questions throughout this. And if no one responds, I am kind of just left guessing whether you get it or not. So please do turn your microphones on at bare minimum if you can, and join in the conversation. Cool. So we'll give it another minute. We have some more people joining on the poll. Is there anyone who has any questions going into this week of things that they would love to see or hear going on in? Ian, go for it.
Well, I was talking with someone in your support team yesterday, and I didn't really get an answer, so I don't know if it's a question that can be addressed here.
Yeah, what's up?
So I was interested in, you have some already created AI characters. I think one is called Global.
Yep, yep, yep.
So I was wondering, how do I choose that character but specify the background? Like I want a Toronto
Yeah,
skyline, CN Tower. So I didn't really get a response on
yeah.
how to.
Great question. And to answer it, so the way we've set up the front end prompt editor is a little bit more, and we have a poll question about this coming up, is a little bit more of like a Mad Libs. And so it's made for people who are newer to prompting. So it asks very specific questions. The prompts that we make and have released, they may be hundreds and hundreds of words long, and they are really, really made so that they work for people of all different shapes and sizes. So for example, even if we were to expose that to you, if you were to change one word in it, it may break the likeness or something else. So for that reason, we aren't offering the backends of those. We can show you how to perhaps make something similar with the custom prompt editor, but I do want to be very upfront with folks that custom prompting is not an easy thing. It's easy to get to like the very first stage where we'll get today, but the refinement means taking multiple photos of people's of different shapes and sizes and running them through. And this sort of it's a little bit of a riddle of changing one word here, what happens, changing another word there, what happens, and finding the happy medium between getting the most likeness of people of all different shapes and sizes and the most like the output that you want. So some of those things to keep in mind. So in short, no, we don't release the backends of those because you can very easily break them.
Okay, so yeah, I wasn't even looking for the specific prompts to get that global character. Like I'm fine having that hidden for me, but there's no way to like add to change the background to specify something?
No, because you would, in theory, by changing the background, you could break everything else in the foreground.
Okay.
So like with a generative AI experience, everything you do builds off the other part of the riddle, right? So what we do have, actually that launched in beta Tuesday, we haven't even sent a message out about it. At PBX, we had a lot of people asking for just background removal, which we've used in the past on some outsnapped events, but we've re-exposed it, some beta now. It's going to be available in 2 formats. One of the other things that's fun about communities is you're going to hear me talk about things I'm not supposed to tell you yet because I can't help myself. But yeah, we're going to have that coming out, I think, in the next week or two, and 2 variables. One, which is a free background removal using on-device background removal. And then we're going to have a premium cloud-based one as well, which would use tokens. So one of the ways you could, in theory, do that is you could use your global head prompt background removal and then put that bobblehead on any background, right? So you have to experiment with it. But I played with it with some of the baseball cards that we did last week, and you know, it's pretty cool. It's great. And also the other thing of note here is that we're really known as the industry leaders in AI, but we also are offering full photo support as well. So it doesn't need to be AI. We have GIF and video as well coming out and very, very soon. Neat. So I'm going to end this poll. Is there anyone else who has another question before I dive into the polling? No? Okay, this is one of those times where I say it gets lonely up here. But so it looks like we have about a 40% of the group has played with prompts. 60% of the group has not played with prompts. I was hoping it would actually show me your answers of the things that you've used, but it just tells me that 50% of people answered. If you want to shout out those of you who have played with prompts, just turn on your mics and say what tools you've used, just so I can get an idea of, yeah, Tony, what's up?
Honestly, just simple ones within the SnapPick app. We are primarily SnapPick, but we are gravitating towards Pictor for this because it's just significantly better.
Gotcha. Cool. Okay, so I'm looking, I did find the answers here. I just had to log in on Zoom. So Playground AI, Gemini, ChatGPT, SnapPick, none specifically, a little bit of everything, love M and LLMs, whichever guest you are, high five to you, it doesn't have your name. And then Kayla, your production team has experience with it, but you personally do not. Cool. Awesome. So let's dive in. I'm going to pull up a browser window here. Where is it? And I'm logged into a test user here, so I may get stumped a few times because I'm used to having the backend version with all the beta features that we're testing. So if I may accidentally tell you things that are coming, or I may get stumped on something and have to figure out a workaround in real time. But so a little bit about Pictor. Sorry, those of you have heard this before, but I run Outsnapped as well, which is a photo booth company similar to those that you run. And over the span of the last, 5 or 10 years, there were consistent times we were getting requests from clients, and the softwares that we were using, I would go and ask for these features, and they would tell me that I didn't need them, but literally they were client requests. So we were losing these deals with Coca-Cola and Pepsi's because we were being told by these software companies that we didn't need them. We did our first AI event now over 3 years ago, and that was something we went to SnapPic and begged them to put it in, but they weren't interested. It was ahead of its time, so we built Pictor. And so based on the feedback that we've been getting from our users, we've been adding more features as well as doing more and more Outsnapped events. One of the things that's cool about the photo booth software being built by a photo booth company is that there's a lot of quality of life things that have happened, meaning that we make it really easy to launch an event on site for your event staff who may not need access to the back end, things like that. We've also done a lot of things where you can have big global changes and then really specific minutia changes. So for example, a privacy officer may say, unfortunately, this button needs to be red for whatever reason they've decided. You can do that in Pictor. So it's really been built based on the things that our clients have needed and that Outsnapped as a company needs. And on top of that, it's been battle tested in the field. Everything Outsnapped has run like 85 to 90% of their events over the last year using Pictor. So just to give you an idea of how battle tested this is before it gets to you. So going into the home page, here we are. We have our pre-existing prompts that this is the global hub that Ian was talking about. These you can launch in seconds. Today, we're going to go into our custom prompt editor, and I'm going to add a new prompt. So this is a section, a moment for people to turn on their mics and be heard. I would prefer not to do a baseball player because I'm a little baseball carded out. But if that is what people would like to see, please, I am happy to do it. But if you guys just want to shout out some ideas of something that
Formula One driver.
One more time.
Formula One driver.
You got it. Cool. Let's call it Formula One driver. And who was that? Who called that out?
Billy Batson.
Hey, Billy. Thank you. So we're going to take a, I just got to find, okay, we'll use this guy as our test subject. So we're going to just start really simple here. Billy, I'm going to admit I went to art school, not Formula One school, so I'm going to need you to shout out some more things. What is an adjective that would describe a Formula One driver?
Handsome.
Okay.
They all are, aren't they?
They all are pretty handsome.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that because if you end up using this for males and females or people of any different gender, handsome may not be an adjective you want to use because that will affect the way male or female looks, but we'll come back on that.
Yeah, attractive.
What?
Attractive.
Sure, we can do that. Or how about stoic? Does that track?
Now they're like James Bondsy kind of attractive guys, so I think attractive works.
Okay, cool. And the subject is Formula One race car driver. The action,
Correct.
do we want them to be driving? Do we want them to be in a press photo? What do you have in mind?
Like a press photo.
What is the setting?
Racetrack.
Cool. Lighting, anything in mind?
Dynamic.
You got it. In the style of?
More like studio shot, but yeah.
So professional studio lighting with well, we'll start there. And then any specific details you want about them?
Enthusiastic maybe.
Okay, I'm gonna go back and put that in adjectives.
Okay.
Yeah, I see. All right.
And then for specific details, my suggestion would be wearing race suit. Is there a specific name for that? Wearing a racing.
Racing suit is exactly what I think it's called.
Okay, cool. So let's see what happens.
We've got Brad Pitt there. He's coming out in a Formula One movie. So
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Coming out a couple of months.
yeah, I'm kind of excited about it.
I think it's going to be good.
Does it matter that that formula is misspelled? Will
Oh,
it still?
yes, it probably will matter. Let me see how we.
Natasha with the keen eye.
Yeah, just take out the U. Oh, but look. Okay.
Okay, so, but now let's run it with the correct spelling and see if there's any difference to it. There may be, there may not be. So the way AI works, the libraries work, is it's just based on its findings. So what this tells me is that enough people have misspelled that the way I did that it would come up also as a Formula One driver. So this may look exactly the same. There might be a slight variation.
No.
So
that's closer. Yeah.
Sadie's kit.
Yep. So how do we feel about the framing? What are we thinking? I'm just going to bring up in this other window here, Formula One race car driver, just so we can have an idea of sort of some of these different things to keep in mind. So one of the things that I noted here was that this is definitely not at a racetrack. So I'm going to take out this professional studio lighting and say more of like documentary style photo of race car driver and see where that lands us. And so, like I've said, I have tons and tons of experience with this, but until you go into play, you don't know what you're up against. And what I mean by that is that the training on a particular word or concept is based on what's on the internet. And without without diving into each one of these requests, you don't know what you're counteracting. So a story that I like to share. Oh, so here we go. Now we're on the race.
Yeah.
So
we're getting,
sorry, what was that?
no, getting close, getting close.
Yep. What other changes would you like to see?
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
I'm going to
Yeah,
just change the adjective to smug just to see what happens so you can see some of these changes. And by changing the word smug, you may actually see a change to the uniform or to the body shape, to even the track, because that's what I was saying with what Ian's question was earlier, is that one word can affect a lot more than you expect it to. So when you go in to start doing these prompts, it's based on a library of whomever has yelled the loudest and the most on the internet, essentially. So we didn't get a real differentiation there, but in the face, but notice that we don't have this same background here, which is interesting.
Yeah.
What if you wanted a specific sponsor? Do you think you could get a specific logo on his uniform?
So I personally, my rule of thumb on the OutSnap side is that we do not recommend doing anything with AI that needs to be exactly on brand. So let me see if I can pull up an example of this from just. I want to just share a piece of material that we use at OutSnap to illustrate this idea, just because I think it'll be the easiest way for me to do that. But where's my bookmarks bar? I hit it so you guys don't have to see my 1 million bars. Okay. Nope, that link is dead. Okay, so I have an example where we've made the Coca-Cola logo. And from a few feet away without looking up close, it looks like a Coca-Cola logo, but as you get up and close to it, it's really not. So it's in the same vein. If you think of like the world's best illustrator, if you tell them to draw the Coca-Cola logo from memory, it'll look pretty close to a Coca-Cola logo, but it's not going to be exact. So with that, I recommend anything that needs to be brand specific should not be done with AI, but let's try it. So let's say adjective, stoic, wearing a Coca-Cola sponsored racing suit. And let's see what happens. So if there's enough on the internet of a guy wearing a Coca-Cola Formula One Coca-Cola outfit, you're going to get something pretty spot on.
Think Red Bull, right, Billy?
Oh yeah, we could try Red
Yeah,
Bull.
Red Bull, but I mean, it won't find anything Coca-Cola, but at least it should attempt to make a Coca-Cola race suit.
Exactly.
I do have one question, and maybe this is a novice question because I'm not. Well,
Ferrari.
that's a Ferrari-ish
Yeah,
kind
so we
of.
got Ferrari and Shell in Coca-Cola Red. And that's what I mean is like you're just gonna, and we can run the exact same prompt again, and we're gonna get it's gonna look very similar, but with some variation. So wearing a Red Bull.
It should at least pick up the color likeness, if nothing less.
Right.
I do have a question from a novice perspective in the sense of working with Pictor.
Yeah.
Will there be a time when we can like import a full prompt as opposed to some of these pullouts?
Yeah, that's a great question, and leads us to the next poll, which we got to before
Yeah.
before I was
All right,
ready.
I'm gonna sit back. I don't want to run
No,
a
no.
presentation.
No, it's perfect. I'll put this here and leave it up, and people can, if I can figure out how to get to it. There it is. And that question was, would people prefer this Mad Lib style, or would they prefer to literally just be able to run their own open-ended prompt, right? So to be able to switch back and forth between the two, perhaps. So let's run Red Bull now and see if that gets closer.
Is it better to leave the adjective to a single word?
The way this is set up is it's actually kind of making a chain anyway. So if you were to just put commas between these, it's kind of daisy chaining everything together anyways on the back end.
Right.
We do this and expose it this way just so people have a real idea of like how and what to put in these. Because if you're starting from nowhere, it can be a little bit confusing.
Yeah, that got close. It pulled a lot of Red Bull likeness through it.
Yep. So let's do this. Let's try this. Black and white documentary style photo of a race car driver and see if that gets us that. So the other thing we can do is play with some different styles. So we're saying photograph here, but maybe we want to try a cartoon.
Just after you do a bunch of these, can you show just quickly how you would do an overlay? Just to say you want the Red Bull logo in the top right corner.
100%, we can do that. So why don't we'll see where this one lands. Okay, I think let's go here. And one of the other things to note in this setup is you have the ability to select your thumbnail, and that's what it's going to show up as. But let's go ahead and select this as our thumbnail. And we're going to say Formula One, we'll call this Red Bull, Formula One driver. And I'm going to select this as the final prompt. And I'm going to try something here. If I can do full body documentary holding branded helmet. Let's see, because I want just a little bit of a wider shot for what I'm thinking.
I do have a question about the specific details. Are you able to put in very specific colors like hex code for colors? Is it
Yeah.
able to do that?
I wouldn't use hex. I would describe them more verbally. And so
Okay.
once again, it's going to be based on like sort of how the internet talks about these things. So what you can do is drop a color into say ChatGPT and say, describe this color to me. And use those words. That's my recommendation. It should pick up hex code too, but it kind of goes under that same exact principle of it's not always going to be spot on. So let's do this. We'll select this as the thumbnail. I'm going to select this as the prompt. It's a little bit wider. I'm happy with that. Let's save this. And now let's go back over here. And who was that who asked that question, by the way?
It was Kayla.
Hey, Kayla,
Hi.
where are you located?
Omaha,
one is-
Nebraska.
Cool.
Yeah.
We have another question?
Yes, I've got a question for you.
And who is this?
With the prompt builder, where you've got those prompts with the adjectives and the lights, the styling and all that, do you actually have some collateral that talks about the relationship between those things in terms of building the prompts?
It's actually right here in the tooltips. So if we go back in here real quickly, each of these is going to give you examples on the types of terminology that you should use here.
Okay, that's great. I think what I was trying to get at was the impact that would potentially have on the image that you were trying to generate.
Yeah, so the reality is that it's going to be different for every word you use, right? So an example that I use for this is we had an event in San Francisco. A pharmaceutical company was launching a new product, and they asked if we could, and I apologize if people have heard this story. It's just the easiest way for me to explain it. They asked during the sales call if we could change the color of the Golden Gate Bridge to the color of this new product. And I stupidly said yes, because how hard could that be? So what we found out was that our AI model just kept saying, no, the Golden Gate Bridge is red, period, right? So even to say an adjective would change the color of something doesn't mean it necessarily truly will in practice. So the collateral around that would be a little bit difficult. So what we ended up having to do in that particular example was build out a bridge in full. Now what we could have, let me say what we can do now is we could literally just use the cutout that I talked about before and put them in front of a colored bridge. But back then what we had to do was build the bridge verbally, architecturally, without ever saying the name of the architect or where it was. Because as soon as we used the word San Francisco, it was like, oh, you're talking about the Golden Gate Bridge or the architect's name. So we were able to change the color of the bridge, but it was a big mess. It was very hard.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Who is that, by the way?
G-Day.
Hey. Cool. So let's call this Red Bull driver. And let's go into the advanced mode. And let's also grab over here, Red Bull logo.
Hey, Nick, I just want to real quick. I'm sorry, this is a little aside. With all those events that were built in that previous screen, are they accessible to us to use? Are they kind of pre-built and we can? Oh, good. Okay, we're doing a basketball one.
Question. Everything that's on that page is a click and run. They've been fully designed with start screens, etc. And those prompts are also available to you later as well. So let's go over here. Let us pull Red Bull Racing. Is this, can anyone vouch? Well, I guess it doesn't really matter if this is the real one or not, but I just want to make sure that
the Oracle one, the Oracle Red Bull Racing.
This here? Yeah. It is not on a transparent background. So this one is. So let's use this one now. I'm just going to go ahead and save this to my messy desktop. And I'm also going to find a cool gradient. Oh, yeah, let's go to Adobe Stock. And let's find gradient racetrack. So I can show you how we can also use that background removal. None of these are actual racetracks.
Yeah.
Still can't spell. Or
there you go.
Doesn't like gradient. Okay. So quite like this one actually, because it's, so I'm just going to save this sample image here. And now let's go back over here and let's go to our flows. So I'm not going to go deep into how we change all these different flow stages today, but we do have a video on that I can send. So we're going to add a new template. We're going to create that template. And I am going to start by adding a capture. Well, actually, let's go back to our templates. Our layouts, and let's make this an Instagram shareable for video, and let's do 9:16. So this would be the normal photo that's being taken. So I'm actually going to now go into this effects, AI filter. I'm going to select our prompt. I'm going to go into our custom prompts. We have our Red Bull Formula One driver. I'm going to add one of these to start. And I'm going to hide the original. So we're only getting the final output here. And I'm going to drag this. So if you hold shift in the bottom corner, you're going to drag the correct ratios. And there we go. And now I'm going to go to my images and I'm going to add an image. I'm going to upload from my desktop that Red Bull logo. I'm going to use this. And I'm going to put it above. And I think what I'm also going to do here is just pull a background for that. I'm just trying to find something light that we can use. Oops. My layers, let me lock my AI output. Let me lock this, and let me move this down here. And I'm mostly doing this now, so when this logo is on top of it, we're able to see through it. And I'm going to go and change this transparency to, let's say, like 40%. Let's do 60%. Okay, cool. So let's start here. I'm going to save this. And now I'm going to go here and test it. So let's see what I look like as a Formula One driver. And while that's processing, we'll go back in a second. I'm going to now open this up. And let's edit it. And now what I'm going to do is, instead of making a whole separate template, I'm going to change the layout of this to be a square. And sorry, I'm going to grab. Actually, you know what? I'm going to undo that. And I'm going to call this template 2, save as template 2. And I'm going to go ahead now and add that other image that I downloaded before of the racetrack. And I'm going to make this nice and big. And I want a little bit of that color here.
Excuse me.
And I'm going to go to my layers. I'm going to take this image and put it all the way at the back. I'm going to lock that. I'm going to come to my AI output, unlock that momentarily. And I'm going to add an effect to this with the remove background. And I'm going to save those changes. And now I'm going to come back in. And just make sure we have both templates. So we have template 1 and template 2 now. And let's go back over here. And so this is getting a full UX UI update in the next month, but for the time being, check it out. So let's take template 2. And so this should, if it works the way I'm imagining it, cut out that player and put them on that background. So as that's rendering, let's go back over here and check on our first session. And one thing that we didn't do was test that photo on people of different shapes and sizes. So the likeness for me, I ironically do not come out well in AI. And there are going to be some people that just do not. But this is not terrible. But you do want to test that with people all different shapes and sizes before you ship it, for sure. So here I am. We have our AI output. I did a little bit sloppily, so we have some artifacts on the sides here. We have the Red Bull logo. And if it wasn't clear to anyone, the reason I grabbed that white was because I didn't think that this would show up properly on top of the image there. So I wanted to make sure that we had something behind it. And then I took that white file that I found and changed the transparency on it so that you could still see behind it. Any questions on the way I assembled this? Nope. Okay, cool. So let's
Well,
go
I do have a question outside of how you assembled that. Are you saying that you take a second shot and then add a second composition to that same project?
Oh yeah, 100%. I'll show you in a sec. So let's check this background removal. Let's see if this worked. I haven't tested this yet myself, so this is the in theory. But yeah, there you go. So here's our AI.
Looks pretty good.
With the background removal. And like I said, this is in beta using the local, but we do have a premium one that will charge a token that's going to get the hair and everything perfect. But to give you an idea, Ian, this is one way you could use that global head.
Nick, you're looking at Max's qualifying time and concerned. Only the F1 fans will get that.
I assumed. Did everyone get this? Everyone knows where we're going here?
No, easy enough.
Yep, that's what I like to hear. So now I'm going to go in, and this is where you see me starting to get anal and do some things. So if you test this enough, you can see where the headroom is. So like my headroom on this is pretty similar on both of these shots. So what I'm going to do now, because I can't help myself, is come back into, go back into template 1. And I'm going to unlock this layer. And I'm going to make it bigger. I'm going to center it. So this way now I kind of know that I'm going to have less headroom and I'm going to be a little bit more above this fold. And I'd have to experiment with this. So now I'm going to do that. And I believe someone asked if I could do a second image. Was that the question?
Correct.
Would you like that to be an AI photo or a not AI photo?
Well, you know, I can't believe I just touched the screen. So like, let's say if the Red Bull Racing was a little to the left and then down there we had the originals. I'll kind of do the original.
Oh, okay. I have a really cool idea, if you humor me. So why don't we do this? Let's do this. Let's actually go back to our AI outputs and our image. So let's go here. And now let's here, I'm actually going to start this fresh because I'm confusing myself. And since I made this so big, that's where it is. Okay, so I'm going to come here. I'm going to make this another AI output. Okay, so what we'll do here is we're going to take this just so you can see. And I'm going to make this a 1-to-1. And I'm going to put it in the I'm going to do two things. I'm going to put a border radius on it so it's a circle in the top corner. So it just pops up there. So that's going to be our original photo. And now I'm going to add another AI output. And let us do Formula One again. One, show the original. I'm going to make this 916 again. Put me down here. Does anyone see where I'm going with this?
Oh,
No.
name and everything else.
So I'm going to now add the effect, remove my background on this one, pull this logo here. And then I'm going to now position this one where I think it should be about here. And I'm going to put that layer down on the bottom. Okay. Now we have this image. I'm going to scooch this down here. Okay. So in this, we have a few things. We have our original photo, which I've moved and I've removed the background removal from. Let me make sure I actually did that. Yeah, I removed the background removal. Now we have our second photo, which is going to come up as a real photo in the top left. And our AI output, which is going to come up on top of everything down here with background removal on the top of this white bar. So I'm going to be cut out there and not in the other spots. I'm going to save this. I'm going to just save it, close it, save, refresh this. I think it was capture one. Let's see. Nope. I guess it was 2. Let's bounce back over here. Oh, maybe I didn't save it. Let's see. I may have gotten too fancy and found a new bug for us to squash. There it is, template 3. There it is. So now we're taking that second photo. I'm going to put my fingers here so we can see it in the real one. And if we go back over here, so what happened was that it hadn't fully saved on the back end before I tried to load it on the front end. And now we have our session counters here. So we'll see, this is that one that I took incorrectly. So that's like the last one we did. And then there should be 2 more coming through. Cool. Any questions at this point?
Average rendering time?
Yeah, great question. So here you'll see 22 seconds, 30 seconds, 36 seconds. Our average is 37 seconds. Who here is familiar with microprocessors?
I am.
Cool. Whoever said yes. So the way this system works is that if you are the only person using this, when you run your first one, it's going to take a little bit of time because we have to boot up all these different services to do different parts of this experience. So if the first one may take significantly longer, but then you'll get down to around that average. we had out snapped tell our clients to expect it between 30 and 90 seconds once it gets to the cloud. That's an important part. So here we go. Oh, I positioned it incorrectly, but you'll see here I am up top, here I am in the bottom, and I got a little bit excited and cut off too much headroom. I also must have had the wrong ratio selected here, so it squooshed it. But you get an idea of what is possible.
Nice.
Cool. So bouncing back over here, I believe Tony asked a question about launching these. Tony, do you have one of these you'd like to see in practice?
Yeah, a basketball one, please. We've actually got a basketball event on Saturday with sports cards.
Where do you see basketball?
I saw it on another events list. You had a whole bunch of play ball, and it wasn't on.
It may not be in the presets, but it may be on the back end. So pick one of these that you see now, and then I can look into exposing that for you.
The baseball one then.
Okay.
But we can create a basketball one, can we?
Yeah. So play ball, we can just call it play ball for now, and it's already ready to go. So it's like literally launched here right now. And so with each of these presets, not only are the AI presets, but we have the full start screens. All the colors are set throughout to match the rest of the template. And as we go through this, we can choose our favorite color, put in your email address, skip, etc. If you wanted to update in this to have a different overlay, for example, you could go to change selected prompt, baseball, and then you could change this to this. So for example, if you wanted to here actually use the Red Bull that we just made, it would be the same thing. You could upload an overlay and go. So if I save this, here you actually see that there's going to be a choice of these two options. So I can agree, and now I'm going to do the race car driver again and approve it. I'm not going to email it to myself. And when we go back over here to our AI images, you'll see exposed here that we are, let's see, we have the original one and it is currently processing. So for example, this particular render opened up a new microservice and is taking a little bit longer to get to. While we're waiting for that, anyone have any additional questions in the last 10 or so that we have together?
In the future, will there be a way to reserve? I imagine like this is some kind of like cloud compute or compute modes or something. So that way you can, if you have a really big event going, I can say like, hey, I want 10 compute modes or something. And then that way it just gives me opportunity to know this is going to be the time as opposed to the variations.
Yeah, yes and no. So we're built with the ability to scale up and down. So to give you an idea, like we've done at Outsnapped events for Intuit, that in like 48 hours had over 70,000 uses. So that's not an issue at all. What I just mean by the microservices is that the first time you use that compute, you may have to open up new servers to do so. So the first one may be slow, but there's no, you wouldn't necessarily, I mean, yes, if you have something and you think you're going to get 1 million uses, please do let us know so we can plan ahead. But I don't see with a normal use case, unless you go viral, you having any issues being well over that 30 to 90 second range.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just got a question for you. With what you're running at the moment, does it do any processing locally on, say, the iPad,
Who's
or
asking?
run on the cloud?
Who's this?
G-Day. It's G-Day speaking.
Oh, hey, yeah. So, yes and no. So there's a little bit that does happen locally, and there's a lot that happens in the cloud.
Right. Because my next question, apologies to all, was whether or not this was built in any shape or form to do any virtual type
Yeah, yeah,
photo booth.
yeah. So with a pro account, you can launch a virtual event, and it uses one license, and then you would have tokens for it. So that Intuit example that I gave you was a social campaign that ran on socials, and it got, like I said, about 70,000 uses from people's own devices over the 2 days that it ran, 2 or 3 days that it ran.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you.
And so just to show you how that works, if you do have a pro account, you can set up in the output here, you can set up what you want your photo booth to look like, your virtual, and this is a full WYSIWYG editor. This is actually getting revamped right now to be even more user-friendly. Right now it is a little bit more code-friendly than it is WYSIWYG. But yeah, you can have this look and feel any way you want.
Hey, Nick,
Yes.
with the cards, again, my only interaction with this is, of course, at PBX. We printed them there. You printed them there immediately. So again, my only reference with the AI is with SnapPick. Right now, we have to have a separate share station in order to print because it's processed up. It never comes back into the gallery locally, but it'll go into a gallery on a share station. How are you doing it there so that we can print?
Great question. So this is a really good example of understanding the pain point of what it means to be a photo booth company. Our clients wouldn't be happy with that, and therefore we didn't design it to do it that way. So with our print server, you do need it running on a different laptop. And I actually just got a new version of our print server. So a little behind the scenes, our print server was working beautifully in the perfect environment that I played with it. And then at PBX, I was astonished that our team had been using it in the field and putting up with the things that were not working just the way they should be. So as of this morning, I got a new fancy print server to beta test this weekend. So that should be available to you within the next week or two. But so you do need another server and a laptop that will act as a server, Mac or PC, that's connected to your printer. It will daisy chain with both the cloud and the device and print without a share station.
Okay, so we can, the print server is on the website somewhere. We can download that onto a laptop.
Yes, we're gonna send out a message when the new print server is ready. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I don't want you playing with the old one because it's gonna frustrate you. If you can give us a week, we'll have the new one for you.
How would I be able to print this weekend then?
Oh, if you need to do it this weekend, okay. I'll message you after and we'll figure that out.
Okay, great.
Cool. There's a bunch of different ways to do it, and we'll figure out based on your setup the best and easiest way to do it. So look for a message from me after this, Tony.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Cool.
Nick, this is Natasha. You mentioned that there are certain processes that do run locally on the iPad.
Yes.
Do we need to have anything optimized on the iPad to ensure that there's no gotchas happening?
No. Everything would be, you wouldn't need to do anything. It all takes place within the software. Obviously the recommendation is you want the newest, fanciest iPad with the most space and memory and all that stuff. But yeah, no, who here has done trade shows and conferences? Cool.
Yes.
For anyone who hasn't, this is my joke about trade shows and conferences, that, and if your clients, I'm sure, have complained to you about how expensive the internet is, that they have to charge so much for the internet because they literally have to pay the world's best actors to stand there and tell you that everything is working fine all day when it clearly is not. So before a trade show opens, the internet is usually like 25 to 50 megabytes up and down a second. As soon as the doors open, it's just miraculously like stopped. It's molasses. So another thing, we've had, I'm not going to name names, but I've used multiple pieces of photo booth software that love to just blame it on the internet. The internet is actually something that we all have to contend with. So blaming it on the internet to me is not a good enough answer. So we've spent a ton of time and energy and money working on our queuing system to make sure it's super, super robust and that no data is lost. But what that means is even if you have a trickle up to the cloud, we're going to trickle upload your stuff. So as long as you have a internet connection, things will make it to the cloud. And similar to what Tony was asking about the print server, without something like that, it's just a terrible user experience from the event side of waiting for this photo to come and print, etc. So yeah, everything is managed within the software. All you need to do on your side is make sure you have a newish iPad. It will work on old ones with a newish operating system and enough memory on it. That's it.
Is this the form that asks for an ask?
Sorry, one more time.
No, I said, so one of the things that always confused me about the cloud approaches
Yeah.
is once the data is received, is there any way, again, this could be a future ask, to kind of like send a text to whoever the potential client is, your image is being processed, stay tuned or something, or soon to come, whatever.
Yeah.
Anything that kind of alerts because, oh, I like, yeah, is a good.
I mean, we don't do it right now, but you could put in the feedback request for it. So what I would say is that you may be used to stuff that's happening in the cloud that takes so long that you need that message. Here, it's like we saw by the time you check your phone 20 seconds later, 30 seconds later, you have it. So it would almost be a little bit silly to do both, in my opinion. But yes, it's definitely something. We have a feedback button right here. If that is a feature that you would like, please put it in there. And if enough people upvote it, we're happy to do it. Can you tell me specifically about a use case where that would be helpful for you?
Well, going back to trade shows, not necessarily social events. I always think the pressure is more in a trade show than in a event. If I told someone at a wedding you're going to get it in an hour, they're going to be like, all right, great, and they'll walk away. But when I have like this vendor who's into the event, they're looking for that instant kind of engagement.
Sure.
And so just that text alone would then create the anticipation that this could be. And if it is 60 seconds, great. But if it's 90 seconds, I'm not saying a minute and a half isn't a long time or a short period of time, but a minute and a half in a trade show environment sometimes is,
I hear you.
They've already walked out of the booth, they're gone. We don't even know if the process completed per se.
Well, you would on the back end have clarity on whether it was completed, sent, received, etc. What I can tell you is, are these mostly attended or unattended experiences?
Attended experiences.
Yeah. So we've done now hundreds of these events, and we just simply tell people that they're going to receive their photo within 30 to 90 seconds. We also often will have a slide show up, and providing the internet, like if the internet is at a standstill, you can't send them a text message anyways, because you can't get to the cloud to send the text message, right? So by the time they get the text message, it's gonna get the next, the image is processed as well. So we just say, we set expectations as people are using the booth. You should receive it within 30 to 90 seconds. Another thing that we have is this screen here. So if you were doing unattended, you could say, thank you for participating. Expect your image in your inbox.
We don't see your screen, just so you know.
Oh, well, I'm doing this really cool thing over here. Sorry. In the flow stages, we have what's called a text screen. So you can add a text screen here, and you can say, thank you for participating. Expect your image in your inbox or text message within the next 30 seconds or 30 to 90 seconds. And this could say, take another photo. And now I can save this. And this goes back to those like fully modular things we were talking about, where I can now, this is some weird event that I set up. Sorry. I thought we were in the same one we did a moment ago, but you're going to see once I take my photo, it may be hard to read because I have this weird back end, but so I'm going to skip putting in my email address here. But now in a moment, you're going to see here, thank you for participating. I expect your image within the next 30 to 90 seconds. So we can put in those custom workflow stages to set expectations, or similarly, say we want to, at the very top of the experience, say, thank you for participating. to set expectations XYZ. Now click to get started. And now, oops, I can open that guy up. And our first screen is going to set those expectations. See? Thanks for participating. To set your expectations XYZ, let's get started. So I wouldn't call it a workaround. I do hear what you're asking for, and I do think that that's a great and valid request. So I would urge you, and anyone who has requests, please, I'm going to put this link in the chat. Pretty sure this is it. No, I can't spell. No. Let's go here. Oh, .io, that's why. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the chat. Please, please, please do put your requests here, because while I have been up here telling you that we are a photo booth company, we made this to be awesome for photo booth companies, I only run one photo booth company. So if there are features that you need for quality of life for yours, the only way we're going to know is if you tell us via that. So
Nick, before we go, this is Natasha again. I have a question.
yes,
You
please.
always have that one guest that says, never received my photo. Where's the resend option?
Oh, great question. This is the virtual experience, so we can't really show it to you, but you would enable the gallery
Okay.
in your flow and show gallery, and then you'd be able
Okay.
to resend from there. Alternatively, something that we don't have. Also, the other thing is a lot of the times when that happens, it's a typo. So if you just try and re-trigger a resend, it doesn't actually ever get to them anyways. We have a bunch of photo booths installed in a few casinos, and we're always getting emails from people that are like, we didn't get our photo. What's wrong with your system? And we have to like start looking for all the misspellings a drunk person would make of their name to find them. But yeah, we do have a re-trigger variation in our backend that's not exposed that you could also in theory use, but it would send to the same incorrect email.
Okay. Does the software allow you to see undelivered?
Yeah, it should in the status here.
Okay.
This
we can't see your screen again.
Oh, sorry guys. I didn't actually email myself those last two photos. So we're seeing that the full status here is green. You see my screen, right? Yeah. But if I had put in an email address, it would confirm that the email was sent there. That answer the question, Natasha?
I think so, but will it show you anything where the delivery just simply failed, not just that there's a checkbox in the status card?
So by delivery failed, do you mean like a bounce back?
Yeah.
I'll have to check the dev team on that, but that would be a great feature request if you want to drop that in there, and I will take it up with the dev team. Cool. Well, we're a few minutes over, and I don't want to keep anyone. Any last question? Ian, you have one last one?
Well, I'm just wondering if, because I found the background replacement when you went through that a bit fast. Are you able to hold back at the end and just sort of show how you do that with the global ahead?
I'm unfortunately not, because I have a 1:15 call, but we are going to send this video out, so you'll be able to watch there. And what I will do real quickly with everyone now is I'll just bring that up and show you how that in theory will work. So coming in, and I'm going to go fast here, but you'll be able to watch it in slow-mo when I send it out. So I'm going to go to, we're in the advanced and flow. I'm going to create a new template. I'm going to create a template. I'm going to take a capture and add it. I'm going to make this 1:1 in this case. I'm going to select the capture and add AI to it. In this case, it is going to be, whoops, I don't want to do the custom prompt there. I want to select the prompt, and you want a global. I don't know why it's not coming up here. I will look into that. But for the time being, I'm going to just grab a prompt. So we'll do Western Prairie. We're going to say one of these. And quite simply, I'm going to click on this gear. I have the effects, and I'm going to do remove background. Follow? So capture, add an AI to the capture, click the gear on the capture, add remove background.
And that's the same as if you just started a new event and clicked the global from the beginning?
No, because the global is in the, so those presets are in the simple flow. So you would need to use the advanced flow for background removal.
So there's that play ball one I want. So, sorry, Nick,
Yeah.
we don't have access to these ones, do we?
Oh, this is my back end of just us playing with things. So
Give me that.
Yeah. No, you believe me, you don't want that. It is such a mess.
Oh.
Such a mess. But yeah, so if you do want, there is a full explainer video on how to make the baseball cards that if you look in the group we can find, or Tony, I can send it to you as well, because I have to check it later today. Cool. Excellent. I hate to run, everyone. Thank you so much. Always, we have the chat down in the bottom. Our response times are within business hours. And for emergencies, if you ever have an emergency, write the word emergency in there, but please make sure it's truly an emergency and someone will get to you 24/7. And that feedback is so important to us. So please do share. Okay. Tony, did
Great.
you?
I no, but the print server info, if you could.
Yes, I'm going to reach out to you with it. Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Have a great one.
You too.
Bye-bye.